Hi everyone, it's Mark, and I am here today to make a little video to talk about atheopaganism and the new atheism or anti-theism, because the subject comes up quite a bit when I'm talking with people about being an atheist. They often assume that that means that I'm like Richard Dawkins or, another, very acerbic, abrasive kind of atheist who's going to rant and rave about how God doesn't exist. And that's just not really the path that I choose. So why don't we start with the fact that atheopagans are atheists, right? We don't believe that gods exist except as ideas. They can be metaphors or archetypes, but that exists in the mind. That's not beings that are out there in the universe. And in that, we share that belief system with the new atheists, who are folks like Lawrence Krauss and Sam Harris and the late Christopher Hitchens, Daniel Dennett, Richard Dawkins, of course. So these folks are very strident about their dismissal of the idea of gods because of the lack of credible evidence for them. And they argue even further that religion in general is bad, that it's bad for the world, and that it causes harm, and that we should be rid of it. And when you look at history and you look at the impacts of religions in the world today, they kind of have a point. It's pretty easy to point to horrible atrocities that have been committed in the name of religions, horrible atrocities and genocides that have happened while religious institutions just stood by and did nothing. But the difference between the new atheists and their argument about religion being bad and we need to get rid of it, and us, is that we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. The problem isn't religion. The problem is bad religion. And unfortunately, the overculture, the framework of values and beliefs that contextualizes the English-speaking world and much of the rest of it is bad religion. It's Christianity, and it's steeped in some really terrible values and practices. The idea of original sin, that we're all stained and we need to be redeemed by a human sacrifice, and that we're living to attain some kind of afterlife, which means that we don't really have to care about this world at all, or that no matter what we do, we can be absolved simply by asking forgiveness from Jesus. These are terrible ideas. They're terrible ideas, and they have horrible impact on people, not to mention the patriarchy and the homophobia and the racism, the hostility to people who are marginalized in our societies and who are marginalized largely because Christianity has made them that way. So our position is not that religion is bad, because we practice a religion. We have rituals around the course of the wheel of the year to celebrate those Sabbaths. We do rites of passage. We dance around a fire and beat drums and sing and, do all those, fun pagan-y things, the pagan side of atheopaganism. But it's all in the name and within the framework of some really positive values of inclusion and kindness and compassion and reason and wonder and awe. That's what we're about. We're about actualizing and bringing forth the fullness of every amazing human. We're not about beating them down and telling them that they need to be submissive to some giant parent in the sky. We're about telling them that they are magnificent, that they're amazing, they're a unique manifestation of the universe, and we want them to be able to express that in its fullness and to celebrate it as a community. So my approach to the atheism argument most of the time is, and I say most of the time because sometimes I fall off the wagon, I think all of us do, is simply to say, I don't believe in gods, and you go do your thing. The moment that I have to put my hand up and say, wait, that's not cool, and we're going to draw a boundary here, and I'm going to fight you on this, is when they start doing harm. When they deny human-caused climate change and fight against policies to improve our impact on the atmosphere. When they marginalize and attack and humiliate and denigrate people of color, LGBTQ people, all, you know, the marginalized, generally speaking. That's harm. That's harmful. It's religion being bad, and it's necessary for us as people of integrity and of good values to stand up and say, no, that's just not all right. We're going to fight you on this, because whatever your Bronze Age book of rules tells you, it's wrong. We've evolved a lot in the last 2,000 years. And we understand now that all of these people are people, and they are as sacred and holy as any other people. They don't need to be cleaned or washed or improved or converted or anything. They're fine. So that's really all that I wanted to say in this video, because I know that as atheists, we can often be tar-brushed with that, you know, oh, you're just like Richard Dawkins, you're, you know, angry and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I'm not angry, really. I'm joyous and full of wonder and amazed by this incredible universe that we live in and that we are manifestations of. And I'm grateful for the ride of this little life that I get. And I hope that you're enjoying yours as much as I am mine. It's summer here. It's beautiful. I know that it'll be winter solstice soon in the southern hemisphere, and I hope that you'll have a happy midwinter or Yule or however you celebrate it. My best wishes to everyone, and thank you for spending your time with me today. Bye-bye.